Well, when I came to Nichols, I knew I wanted to do psychology, but my biggest thing was that after you graduate from college with your psychology degree, you can't really get a lot of jobs unless you go to grad school. So when I was little, I wanted to be a teacher, and then as I kept going in my years of schooling and whatnot, I really realized I loved helping people, but in a way of like fixing their problems. So I was kind of like, all right, well, like counselors do this, they fix problems, and I love listening and talking to people, so it was something that I think kind of was right on spot for me with a career. So like in college, like I said, like taking different psychology courses, I realized, all right, I really think I'm going to be into school guidance counseling because, all right, I really want to work in a school because summer's off, vacations, weekends, it's kind of fits me well, I like that. So I really want to work in a school, and then having that like student aspect I really like, and just I know there's so many issues that go on with children in the school system, and the school system sometimes doesn't know how to handle these children, but when you have that adjustment counselor, guidance counselor aspect, it really helps the child do well in school. So I really like having that like as a career, as in like I'm the one helping the students do better in school and make their lives a little bit easier. So it's kind of like a passion of mine to do this. So I'm really excited to finally start focusing in on that. I knew that I wanted to stay around this area. I'm a homebody, for those who know me, so I like this area. So I looked in the book for schools, Worcester area, Springfield area, and those are the two main areas that have a lot of schools. So I applied to Assumption and Springfield College, and I just knew based on their also reputation. I've heard really great things about both, so it kind of worked out for me that they were close and they have great reputations. And I've heard reputations just from like past students that I've talked to, like, oh, I applied here and here because like they have really good programs and whatnot. But probably like 4 or 5 would be realistic, because you want to make sure you apply to everywhere you possibly could want to go, and then just having those backup schools, the schools that you kind of like your teacher might say, okay, you'll be fine here. So having like a couple schools that are maybe out of reach, a couple that are in reach, and then maybe one that's a safety. So I would say 4 or 5 would be like a really good amount. I think how much effort goes into the personal statements. So I must have wrote my personal statements like one of each, at least 8 times a piece before I even sent them out. So I think that was just so stressful. When you do go through the process, you want to make sure you're looking at all the schools that you potentially could even want to go to. Maybe a school that you don't think you could get into, still apply, because just having that, knowing that you did try to apply to every place. I didn't apply for scholarships, which I'm like, my mom's yelling at me about that now. So again, like looking at the schools, making sure they have scholarships, and then applying for those scholarships. By the time I figured out those schools had scholarships to apply to like pay for some of my education, it was like past the due date, or it was like a week away, and you had to get like recommendations, a letter, a resume sent to them. So it was just like by the time I figured out scholarships were available to me to like pay for some education, it was kind of too late.